Hello aspirants, I welcome you all to Current Affairs video of our Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 1st of May 2025. Now before getting into the list of articles, I have an important announcement for you. It is regarding our All India mock test for UPSC Prelims 2025. The first test is starting on 4th May 2025 and the second test is on 11th May and third test is on 18th May. So it will have the actual pattern of UPSC preliminary examination. So you can register through the link that is provided in the description and you can take this test to check your preparedness for UPSC examination. So with this note, let us get into the list of articles for today's discussion. In the first article, we'll be discussing about Chief Justice of India from the prelims perspective. In the second article, we'll be discussing about Axiom Mission 4. It is actually a space mission by a private company from USA. In the third article, we'll be discussing about certain findings through the audits of Comptroller and Auditor General CAG. In the fourth article, we'll be discussing about the mission for clean Ganga restoration. And in the final article, we'll be discussing in detail about killing of 700 starving koalas after a bushfire which happened in Australia. What are the controversies around it? So without any delay, let us get into the article discussion. Now look at this article that talks about CJI. CJI is in news because Justice Bhushan Ramakrishna Gawai, he has been appointed as 52nd Chief Justice of India, CJI. So from the prelims perspective, we have to learn about the basics about CJI. Remember, Chief Justice of India is actually a constitutional post established under Article 124 Clause 1. So he is actually the head of Indian judiciary as well as the administrative head of Supreme Court. Now moving on, talking about appointment of Chief Justice of India. He or she is appointed by President of India under Article 124 Clause 2. And remember, no constitutional rule is there to appoint a senior most judge. So it is actually a convention that the senior most Supreme Court judge will be the CJI. And the current ongoing CJI, he or she, they will be recommending who will be the next CJI. Now moving on, talking about the tenure, there is no fixed tenure for CJI and he or she, they will be holding office until age of 65. This is as per Article 124 Clause 2. And the CJI can resign by writing to the President. And since the senior most Supreme Court judge is appointed as CJI, they will be serving the CJI post for a very short tenure and this is very common among the CJIs. Now moving on, let us see about the impeachment process when it comes to CJI. See, the ground here is proved misbehavior or incapacity and this particular impeachment process, it is governed by Article 124 Clause 4 and Judges Inquiry Act 1968. Now moving on, talking about the process, how impeachment happens. A motion has to be signed by at least 100 Lok Sabha or 50 Rajya Sabha members and it should be given to the speaker, and 3-member inquiry committee will be formed for investigating the charges against CJI. So once the special majority is proven, it will be given to President and President will issue an order for removal. So here, remember, there has been no CJI impeached so far. Now moving on, let us see about the powers and functions of CJI, very important thing. He actually presides over constitutional benches. So there are different types of benches, you can leave that in the comment section, the different types of benches, what are the purpose of them. And he actually allocates the cases and constitute the benches. Remember, he is the head of the collegium system. Like who have to be the judges in the Supreme Court. He will be creating the roster and all, and he will be heading the process, and he will be maintaining the judicial independence and the court administration. So these are all very important functions and powers of CJI. Now based on the things we have discussed, I have created a prelims question for you. Let me read out the question. Here, two statements have been given. First statement says the Constitution of India provides provisions for the removal of CJI. And the second statement says, according to the Constitution, the senior most judge will be appointed as the CJI. Here, both the statements are incorrect. The first statement is actually incorrect because Constitution provides the provisions for removal of judges of Supreme Court along with CJI. There is no special provision for CJI separately in the Constitution, and that is why the first statement is incorrect. So here the correct answer for the question is option D, neither one nor two. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this article. According to the article, India's Shubhanshu Shukla is going to fly to ISS on May 29. Here ISS is nothing but International Space Station. So this will make him first Indian astronaut to visit ISS and the second Indian in space after Rakesh Sharma, who travelled to space in 1984. So he is actually travelling under Axiom mission 4, in short called as AX4. So this particular mission, it will be launched on May 29 this year, and it will be launched from Kennedy Space Station, which is in Florida. So here we have to learn about two important things. What is this ISS? And then we have to learn about the particular mission. So we shall start with what is this ISS, International Space Station. So International Space Station is actually a collaboration between different countries to build a particular space station in the space. So here you can see the actual image of International Space Station. This is how it looks like. So it is actually 109 meters in length. So this is actually you can compare this with an American football field. So this much how big is this ISS, and this ISS is not built in a single launch. So literally 30 flights has been 30 plus flights has been taken to build the different parts. So it has actually assembled in the space. So it was launched in the launch was started in 1998, and the full construction it took literally 2000. So until 2 years they were launching the parts of ISS, and they were assembling it in the space itself. So since 2000 it has been used for human to explore the space and conduct a lot of experiments in the space. So this is a very basic about ISS that you have to remember. And since 2000, it is actually serving as a platform for microgravity research as well as cooperation. If you know what is this microgravity, you can leave that in the comment section. Even in Earth, we can feel microgravity. You can again mention in which places you can feel this microgravity in the comment section. Now moving on, let us see about this ISS retirement. See, ISS, it has been working so long period, and it is going to get retired by 2030. It has been agreed by NASA, ESA and Roscosmos. Roscosmos is nothing but Russia's space agency. Now this retirement is happening due to its age, cost as well as outdated systems. So here what is NASA's future plan is that it has started commercialization of this place since 2019, meaning a lot of private companies were allowed to take up research in the ISS, and there are a lot of companies mentioned here. And in future NASA is actually planning for deep space missions. And here you might have a doubt why private missions has been allowed in ISS. The reason is very simple. It is to build low earth orbit economy. So here the low earth orbit economy is nothing but building an economy in the space. For example, building space tourism or building research stations. This can be even done by the private sectors as well. So in order to boost that, NASA is planning to welcome all the private astronaut missions. Secondly, to demonstrate commercial space station viability. So even the space station, it can be built by private as well. So instead of government itself doing everything, the private can also participate in this particular thing. And for that, using the ISS will give them the familiarity. So for that, this particular mission is encouraged. Thirdly, to act as pathfinder before ISS retirement. So before retirement of ISS, this will help the private sector to learn how the particular station works and what kind of modifications can be done in the future explorations. So those kinds of things can be explored by using this ISS, and that is why the private astronaut missions is currently being allowed. Now, having done with that basics of ISS, now let us quickly go through this Axiom Mission 4. So this is actually organized by a private company which is in USA. So the launch vehicle is taken from SpaceX Falcon 9 with Dragon spacecraft, and the launch site is nothing but the Kennedy Space Station, which is in Florida. The destination, as I said, it is International Space Station ISS, and the mission duration is up to 14 days. So here, even within this 14 days, around 60 different experiments are going to be conducted, in which 7 of them will be conducted from India's side. So here comes the question, what is the significance for India? So 7 Indian experiments from ISRO and others will be conducted, right? So this will be focusing on health and human adoption in microgravity. Secondly, biotech as well as material science. Then agriculture, especially sprouting monks as well as fenugreek in space. And then finally physical science. So here it will help Indian space agencies to understand how seeds grow through different generations. So that is what here mentioned. Seed studies may explore multi-generational space effects. So these are all very important facts that you have to remember from this particular article. So based on the things we have discussed, I have created a prelims question for you. Let me read out the question. Which of the following statements correctly describe low Earth orbit LEO? Here 4 statements are given. Satellites in LEO orbit between 160 to 2000 kilometer. Second statement says ISS is located in low Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit satellites are primarily used only for deep space exploration. Fourth statement says communication delay in LEO is lower than in geostationary orbits. So here the correct answer for this particular question is option B, 1214 only. Third statement is actually incorrect. See, deep space exploration, it cannot be done using LEO's satellites, and that is why this third statement is incorrect. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this article that talks about the CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General. Recently, while auditing Tamil Nadu state government's audits, CAG has made 2 important findings from the audit. Firstly, certain colleges, aided colleges, they have been collected excess amount of fees from the students. So literally 72 colleges has been collecting excess amount of fees from the students, which amounts to 3.14 crore rupees. Secondly, a lot of unused infrastructures has been erected even in government polytechnic colleges. So all these just help us to infer that public money has been wastefully spent. So here CAG has made certain recommendations. Let us see them one by one. Firstly, CAG has enforced prescribed fee norms. So only the fee norms that has been prescribed should be collected from the students when it comes to aided colleges. Secondly, the CAG has directed the colleges to refund the excess amount collected from the students to the students itself. Thirdly, they have brought in standardized building norms for polytechnics. See, even under AICTE norms, there are certain building things as essential things. But instead of investing in them, the colleges has invested in building the guest houses or building the staff quarters and all. So instead of wasting the public amount on that, the CAG has prescribed for norms under which the money should be spent economically as well as for essential things. Now moving on, let us see about the power of CAG when it comes to state auditing. See, first thing is CAG can audit state government departments, state PSUs. PSUs are nothing but the public sector undertakings. Then state-run autonomous bodies, local bodies, panchayat, municipality. All these are audited under Article 149. This article empowers CAG to audit the accounts of both union as well as state. Secondly, CAG has the power to audit state public accounts, for example the consolidated fund of the state, then the contingency fund of state. Consolidated fund is the fund that is held by the state for the day-to-day expenses, and then contingency fund is the fund that has that is kept for the future as well as emergency needs, as well as the public accounts of the states will be actually audited by CAG. This is as per Article 151 Clause 2. Remember all the articles, because even in preliminary examination the statement might say the constitution mandates this, the constitution mandates that. So in order to know that clearly, you have to learn the constitutional articles as well. Remember, under this particular article only, CAG has to submit audit reports to the governor, which who will be placing that to the state legislative assembly. So, apart from auditing, CAG will also ensure accountability of state finances. For example, he checks for the irregularities, if there is any misutilization or wasteful expenditure in state funds. A very good example is the Tamil Nadu case that we saw very recently in the news. So you can use this as a case study in your answer writing as well. So he will be the auditing will be help in uncovering scams, misappropriations, and etc. And it will act as a watchdog of state finances. However, there are certain limitations to CAG report. Firstly, CAG cannot enforce any action. He can only submit reports. Secondly, the implementation, it depends on the Public Accounts Committee in the state legislation. These are the limitations of CAG report. Now, based on the things we have discussed, I have framed a prelims question for you. Here, three statements has been given. First statement says, CAG is appointed by President and removed through Parliament resolution. Second statement says CAG audit state, government and aided institution. Third statement says CAG reports are submitted directly to the Prime Minister. Here the correct answer for the question is option B, 2 only. Now look at this article that talks about National Mission for Clean Ganga, in short called as NMCG. NMCG is recently in news because it has been exempted from tax. So it is actually declared as an authority under IT law. So let us first see about what is this NMCG, what are the objectives of it, then we shall see about what are the advantages of getting tax exemption. So let us start with NMCG. NMCG is actually a society that is registered on 12th August 2011 under Societies Regulation Act 1860. So it initially functioned under National Ganga River Basin Authority, NGRBA. So it was replaced in 2016 by National Council for Ganga Rejuvenation. Now moving on, talking about the objective of NMCG. See, being a society, it will be getting all the funds from the state government as well as the central government as well as any kind of private institution, NGOs. So all the fund will be collected with the tax. So this particular fund that has been collected will be used for rejuvenating Ganga river. So this is what the actual objective of NMCG. So it will reduce pollution and rejuvenate river Ganga, ensure ecological flow and water quality, promote inter-sectoral coordination and sustainable river basin management. So this rejuvenation is not a simple thing because a lot of things should properly coordinate. For example, sewage disposal should be maintained properly. Secondly, the encroachment should be actually identified. Thirdly, the flooding that is caused due to heavy rains should be managed. So there are a lot of things which requires coordination from different states as well as different bodies, and this particular NMCG aims for proper coordination and integration. Now moving on, let us see about the organizational structure. So this particular NMCG has NGC, which is National Ganga Council. Prime Minister of India is actually the chairman of this council. So it has an empowered task force under Jal Shakti Minister, and the executive body is none other than the NMCG, which is National Mission for Clean Ganga. Apart from this, there are state Ganga committees as well as district Ganga committees to bring in the actual implementation in the real ground. So when we talk about the challenges that are faced by NMCG, so the first thing is land acquisition delays for STPs. STPs are nothing but the sewage treatment plants. So the land acquisition for these sewage treatment plants has been delayed for so long a period of time, which is a very big concern. Then there is lack of local level engagement and responsibility. Only 14,745 crore has been released out of 37,396 crore approved. So here there is fund gap, and there is improper waste disposal at the riverfront as well as weak MSW management and sewage network. Here MSW is nothing but municipal solid waste. Now moving on, let us talk about the tax exemption. So as I said, the society which gets the fund from any particular organ, they have to pay tax for the fund that is received. But now the tax has been exempted, so this will improve the fund efficiency and lower the operational cost. Secondly, it will increase the attraction when it comes to CSR funds as well as donations. CSR is nothing but corporate social responsibility. So any kind of corporate company, they have to give a percentage of their profit to the society in the form of CSR. So since there is tax exemptions, now any corporate that are willing to donate to this particular society, they don't have to pay extra amount in the name of tax. So this is why it is attracting more funds. Thirdly, remember, under IT rules, government have the power to exempt any particular body or an organ that is actually working for conservation or prevention of environment. So this has institutionalized the NMCT itself under Environment Protection Act 1986, and it empowers enforcement and interstate coordination as well. So this does not stops there. It will improve sewage treatment infrastructure. It will enable river surface cleaning as well as equipment procurement. Then it will promote afforestation and biodiversity conservation, since a lot of fund is actually available, and it will facilitate industrial effluent monitoring and public awareness. So apart from that, it helps us to align with the SDG goals, water and sanitation, and SDG goal 13, which is climate action. Then it supports ecotourism and sustainable urban planning. And finally, it will boost livelihood of river dependent communities. So far we discussed about NMCG and what are the impacts of tax exemption when it comes to NMCG. So based on that, I have framed a mains question for you. Let me read out the question. Discuss the significance of granting tax exempt status to the National Mission for Ganga, Clean Ganga in the context of India's environmental conservation efforts. How does this move strengthen the objectives of Namami Gange program? So you can write an answer and post it in the comment section so that we can review your answer as well as your peers can review it. Now look at this news article. Over 700 koalas were killed by snipers in helicopters in Budge Bim National Park, which is in Victoria in Australia. So from the mains perspective, we have to learn about the species as well as why this particular incident happened. So here this koalas can also be called as the pouched bear. Here you can see the species, meaning, family, where they belong to and all. So these koalas, they are actually found in eucalyptus forest and woodlands in eastern and southern Australia. So they are very commonly found in Queensland, NSW, Victoria as well as South Australia. When we talk about the urban areas, they are particularly seen in southeast Queensland, and the IUCN status is vulnerable. Talking about their physical features, they have round head, long furry ears, as well as they have black nose as well as grey to brown fur. When we talk about the size, it depends upon the region they belong to. I have given here the size of the animal. When there's talking about a special trait, they have a hardened back in order to support them while sitting in the trees. Then the males have a chest scent glands, and females have backward facing pouches. So these are certain identical as well as unique features of these animals. Now moving on, talking about the incident that happened in Australia. This particular incident happened after a bushfire that burned 20% of this Budge Bim National Park, which is in Victoria in Australia. So the very reason for this killing that is said is to give peace to the injured, starving, or the displaced koalas due to fire damage. But this raises a lot of controversy. Let us see them one by one. Firstly, there is lack of transparency. So the killing happened and no announcement has been given to the people or the public. So this is the first important concern. Secondly, animal welfare concerns. So there are doubts about identifying injured animals from the air. So how it is possible to kill the animals from the air is the question here. Thirdly, ignored alternatives. Thirdly, ignored alternatives. See, experts have suggested supplementary feeding instead of culling, but this has not been taken into account by the government, which is a very big concern. And finally, habitat issue. See, there has been a long-term change in land usage due to overpopulation. So this has actually fragmented the habitat of the animals. So this is a very big concern, which has actually caused the damage to the animals than the bushfire. So if there is no land fragmentation, if the habitat has been properly integrated, then the animals, they could have been migrated safely to another part. So this is the very important thing that you have to remember. Now moving on, let us see about certain protocols that has been made in the international level for the animal safety. So there are different kinds of protocols. For example, Convention for Protection of Animals. This includes humane treatment in agriculture, transport, and exhibitions. Then there is Compassion Animal Protocol. Then there is Protocol for care of exhibited wildlife. Then there is Protocol for taking of wild animals. Then there is Protocol for international transport of animals. So despite of all these protocols, incidents like this happen in our country. Incidents like this also happening. Even in India, we have certain animal provisions, protection provisions. For example, we have Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act 1960. This prevents cruelty and promotes welfare when it comes to animals. Secondly, we have Wildlife Protection Act 1972, very important provision. So this protects wild animals and regulates hunting. Then we have AWBI, Animal Welfare Board of India. Then we have IPC, Section 428 and Section 429, which penalizes killing or maiming of animals. Then we have Performing Animals Rules, 2001. This regulates animals under used performances. So, despite all these protocols as well as provisions, there are certain challenges in implementing these provisions. Let us see them one by one. So, the first issue is lack of awareness. The public, they have very limited awareness when it comes to animal rights, which is a very big concern. Secondly, there is undertrained officials who really lack power in implementing goodly organized laws. Thirdly, there is wildlife as well as human conflicts, especially in urbanization as well as habitat loss, as well as the habitat loss is causing the huge harm. Then the animal exploitation when it comes to abuse in entertainment industries. Then the animal testing, there are ethical concerns and unnecessary sufferings when it comes to using animals for testing, as well as there is insufficient sterilization and shelter program when it comes to stray animal population, which is leading to overpopulation of the stray animals. So here comes the question: what can be done? Firstly, we have to strictly enforce. We have to strengthen the enforcement. We have to bring in better training and stricter penalties, and we have to educate the public through dissemination of the information. Thirdly, we have to enhance the wildlife protection. We have to increase the conservation efforts and address the conflicts. And we have to ban animal exploitation through any kinds of means like circuses and festivals. And finally, we have to promote alternative to the animal testing. For example, we can encourage ethical research practices. So based on the things we have discussed, I have created a mains question for you. You can write an answer and post it in the comment section so that we can review your answer. The question reads: human-centered conservation frameworks often neglect the right of the animal. Discuss. So it is actually a 150 word question for 10 markers. So with this, we came to the end of the current affairs video. If you like the video, hit like, do comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel and share it with your friends as much as possible. And once again, thank you.